Welcome. Today we are going to discuss Chapter 8 Group Influence. So, what is a group? A group is two or more people who, for longer than a few moments, interact with and influence one another and perceive one another as us. So, how are we affected by the presence of others? We are affected by the mere presence of others. There is this term called co-actors. These are the co-participants working individually on a non-competitive activity. And we have the term called social facilitation, which has the original meaning of being the tendency of people to perform simple or well-learned tasks better when others are present. But the current meaning says that the strengthening of dominant, prevalent, likely responses in the presence of others. So, with the presence of others, people perspire more, breathe faster, tense their muscles more, and have higher blood pressure and a faster heart rate. So, the effect of others' presence increases with their numbers. Sometimes a large audience creates extreme pressure that we're vulnerable to choking. Next is why are we aroused in the presence of others? So there are three possible factors. The first one is the evaluation apprehension. It is the concern for how others are evaluating us. Second is driven by distraction. So when we wonder how our co-actors are doing or how an audience is reacting, we become distracted between paying attention to others and paying attention to the task which overloads our cognitive system. So the last one is the mere presence. So the mere presence of others produces some arousal even without evaluation, apprehension, or arousing distraction. So next is do individuals exert less effort in a group? So we have this term called social loafing. It is the tendency for people to exert less effort when they pull their efforts toward a common goal than when they are individually accountable. And then we have the free riders, which are people who benefit from the group but give little in return. So in our everyday life, individuals cannot be evaluated or held accountable, which in result, loafing becomes more likely. So, although social loafing is common when group members work without individual accountability, many hands need not always make light work. So, people may, however, put forth even more effort in a group when the goal is important. So, next is when do people lose their sense of self in groups? So, we have this term called the individuation. It is the loss of self awareness and evaluation apprehension, which occurs in group situations that foster responsiveness to group norms, good or bad. So, next is we have the term called diminished self-awareness, which exists when our group experiences diminished self-consciousness and we tend to disconnect our behavior from our attitudes. Then we have self-awareness. It is our self-conscious state in which our attention focuses on oneself. Next is we have the do groups intensify our opinions? So we have the group polarization. It is the group reduced enhancement of members' pre-existing tendencies. So it is the strengthening of the members' average tendency, not a split within the group. So do groups intensify our opinions? So according to group polarization experiments, it hypothesizes and predicts that discussion will strengthen an attitude shared by group members. So in our everyday life, we experience group polarization. People associate mostly with others whose attitudes are similar to their own. Thus, group interaction tends to intensify opinions. So next we have the do groups hinder or assist good decisions? So we have group think. It is the mode of thinking that persons engage in when concurrence seeking becomes so dominant in a cohesive group that it tends to override realistic appraisal of alternative courses of actions. So next, we have the how do individuals influence the group? So, although a majority opinion often prevails, sometimes a minority can influence and even overturn a majority position. So, even if the majority does not adopt the minority's views, the minority speaking up can increase the majority's self-doubts and prompt it to consider other alternatives, often leading to better, more creative decisions. So in experiments, a minority is most influential when it has number one, consistency, number two, self-confidence, and number three, defections from the majority. So a minority daw is most influential if they are consistent sa kanilang pinupush na position. And then when they have self-confidence, parang mas they appear more persistent, and they convey their position more confidently. And then last is they when a minority consistently doubts the majority wisdom, majority members become freer to express their own doubts and may even switch to the minority position. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening.